Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 8th of April. Today we got a lot of very interesting news from this area, so let's go step by step. First of all, I want to discuss the Kherson region, Kherson district. Ukrainian forces, they are moving from the north and they're trying to take town by town. Some clashes were on the west-south part of town named Kherson in this area. Russian took these towns and the Ukrainians, they are sitting here in this town. Another very interesting news are coming today from Mariupol. The operation in Mariupol continues, and today Russians, the main actions were in this area, in the port area. And as far as you can see, Russians first they attacked from this area, from this side, and they came to the port almost till here in this area, and they're stopped then, and that's allowed to split this territory in two parts. And after that, today they started their attack from this area, and today Russians got into the port, so they're controlling half or some territory in the port. Also today we got information from some commander of Chechensky army who is fighting here. They say that they control about 98% of territory of Mariupol. He meant not the industrial territories like Azovstal. He talked about the civilian part of Mariupol, so 98%. As far also, I linked a video in my Telegram chat where how another party of Ukrainian forces surrendered. So as far as I see, the defense in this town start to fall, and it fall in very fast way and geometric progression. So I think that maybe in a few next day, maybe after this weekend, we're gonna see that just the Azovstal is the only territory which is controlled by Ukrainian forces. Now let's move to the north. Another news start to come in this area. As soon as the operation in Mariupol comes to the end, Russian forces activated operation here. Yesterday, after I made my previous video, I got information that Russian forces they blockade two very important towns, town named Ugledar and town named Novomikhailivka. And starting from today's morning, they start the cleaning operation in these territories. These towns are very important here, because if you will move to this card, you will understand better the meanings of this town. For example, town named Ugledar, this town. There is a small front line on the river. So the Russians, during all, you see that the front line goes along the river, and it was very difficult for them to cross this river. And they need to take this front line. So now they start the operation here in Novomikhailivka. Before they took town named Slavna, and this card by the way not updated. And now they start operation in Novomikhailivka. But it's very difficult, and they're planning to move here. So they're planning to move here. And after they got here, they will establish fire control over all this territory. And they will be able to suppress all forces here. Especially, they will be able to establish fire control over this road, over this fortified area Marinka. The Russians they try to cross this territory, but they can't do this because of the fact that this territory is very fortified. And Ugledar is also one of the important towns, because they need to supply and support these towns, and also attack at least to establish some fire control over this front line and so on. So now they start the operation on the south, and as far as I understand, as soon as Mariupol falls, some forces they will drop here to enforce this army. Okay, now let's move to the north, to the Avdiivka, to the Lysychansk, Severdonetsk, Rubezhnoye, Kremenная agglomeration. As far as I understand, Russian they have some problems in this territory. It's the same important of this area we discussed in the previous videos. We saw that Russians they're doing their job in Mariupol well. Soon they will clean this territory, and this town is almost the same fortified area as Mariupol, but as far as I see, they're not so successful here. We see that that Russians spent on cleaning this territory the same time as they spent in Mariupol, and the only thing they managed to do is just to take half of Rubizhnoye. And it's not much. It's not much. And of course, the main reason of that is that Ukrainians, they have endless support. So you see this endless support using this road and this road. So this territory, this area is very well fortified. So we could say like it's a very fortified area, and the Russians, they're trying to attack here, they're trying to attack here, and they're trying to attack here. But they are not very successful here, as I told you, because this territory is not surrounded, and the Ukrainians, they support and supply this territory. Maybe the words that the Russians are not successful here are wrong. I think it's better to call this territory as a massacre. I'm not sure, I don't know about the losses from the both sides, but I understand that losses here, at least from Ukrainian side, are very high. And also I forget that Russians, they're also trying to attack from this side, so town named Kremennoye. And the Ukrainians, they stand here very successful. So that's why Russian, they start another operation. We discussed this in my previous video. They start to move here, and took this town Novotashkovska. So the front line now is here, and according to the video information from Russian military forces, they're saying that now they are ready to attack from this area to the west, and they're saying that this mission will be very successful. And they need to do this. They need to take some forces from this area to the south, because but by the way, we discussed this also in my previous video. You see this territory. I'm not sure that these towns are very easy to take, because you see how all these towns is like a circle, half circle of a very fortified area. I'm not sure that it will be very easy to take this town, but at least they will be able to free some forces here and so on. Also, we know that Russians, they're fighting here in Popasная region, and they took almost half of this town, and some sources say that even they managed to go even further, and that the battles now are somewhere here. And you know that it's so that means that this region is very important. So this region is between a town named Popasная and Severdonetsk Lysychansk agglomeration region. So very heavy clashes are here. But for today, there were no movements on the front lines. Just the one success of Russians in town named Novotashkovsk. Now we are moving to the heart of Donbas border. Today we got very terrible, very horrible news from this town. And I'm not sure you saw this, but I link a video in my Telegram channel that some party of this conflict launched operational tactical rocket Point U, and this rocket targeted the railway station in the heart of Donbas border town named Kramatorsk. I will show you this rocket. This is a .U, Point U rocket, operational tactical rocket. And after this explosion, after this attack, it was a horrible video. From the first minutes, we started to see information that around 30-40 people were killed just from one attack, just from one. After this attack, around 100 civilians admitted to the hospitals with different kind of injuries. So there were people without legs, without arms. So it was very terrible and very horrible. Right after this attack, these explosions, both sides start to blame each other in this provocation, in these horrible actions. Ukrainian forces told, and I want to discuss this in a very detailed way. Ukrainian forces, they told that the Russians attacked this town with their rockets Iskander. But after a few hours, maybe minutes, I'm not sure, the civilians from this town, they published a photo of part of rocket which attacked this territory, and it wasn't Iskander. It was tactical operational rocket Point U. So that means that this territory was attacked using these rockets, not using this Iskander, and this is the Iskander. What does it mean? First of all, that means that there is a real chance that it wasn't Russian attack. I'll explain why. Because tactical operational rockets point 2, Russians they don't have these rockets in army. They're not using them. They're using rockets Iskander. But point 2 is the rockets which Ukrainians are using, Ukrainian forces use. For example, if you remember a few videos ago, we discussed the attack on Berdyansk port, this territory, when Ukrainian forces managed to destroy big marine ship, Russian big marine ship, and they used this rocket point O. I'm not saying anything. I don't blame any of this party, because I'm sure that nobody will find out the truth. It is the truth that will go on forever. But after this attack, a lot of things changed in this area, and I will explain why. And some of these parties, Russians, Ukrainians, they get some benefits from this attack. Of course, it sounds horrible and terrible, and I'm sorry for all these losses. But some these parties, they got some benefits from this attack, and I will explain what kind of benefits. First of all, as far as I remember, in this region they were announced about the evacuation. But you need to understand that this entire region has problems with fuel, like all Ukraine. So the only one way how Ukrainians might leave this territory is the railway station. This is the only one way. There is no other way how to leave this territory. And the rocket attack was exactly into the railway station, where was a lot of people. And as far as I know, there were around 4,000 people there at that time. What does it mean? And after that, of course, there was no evacuation from this town. And the authorities of this town told that there would be no more evacuation using the railway station in this area. What does it mean? That means that now there is only one way to escape, to evacuate from this city. It's the personal car, or you can step on your feet from this territory to another town. But we understand it's impossible, at least for now. So if you have a car, you are able to leave this town. If you have a car and the fuel. If you don't have, you will have to stay there. What does it mean? For example, Ukrainians, we know the Ukrainians' tactics. They are using people as live shield. It's their tactics, and we saw these tactics in Mariupol. We saw these tactics in Bucha, Irpin. We saw these tactics in many places in Ukraine. So they are using people as live shield. So that means, because of that fact that civilians are no longer able to leave the town, they will have to stay there. And so this is the result. I'm not saying if it's good or bad. This is the result of this attack. Another thing, as far as you know, Ukrainians, they can't move from town to town using roads. Because they can do this, but in this case they need to jump from one town to very near another town. For example, if Ukrainian forces want to drop forces from Poltava to Kharkiv, they will have to, from Poltava, first move to this town, then to this town, then to this town, because they can't stay on the road very long, because they will be spotted by Russian artillery, Russian drones, and they will be destroyed. So it's not a case. It's not a case when we see that there is Donbas border operation, but they need to drop forces there. And what did Ukrainians do in this case? They start using the civilian trains for these purposes. Just for the troops. They're taking their soldiers, they took their soldiers, put into the trains, and they start moving in the civilian trains from one part of Ukraine to another. So, and some Russian sources, publics, they told after attacking, after this attack, it was like first messages from the Russian source public that Russian forces are working on Kramatorsk railway station. They're working on we could say Ukrainian military. So yes, Ukrainians, they're using militaries. And what does it mean? Because of that fact that because of this attack, there is no more evacuation for civilians using the railway stations, because I don't think that they will risk, people there will risk using these stations. They will try to escape using their own resources like cars maybe and so on. So that's why that it allows Russians to attack any railway station and any railway train on these territories, because there will be much more higher chances that there will be just forces and Ukrainian troops. So you understand, you see the connections between these two things. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching, subscribe the channel and enjoy your day.